Hey guys, welcome back to Community Cares. I'm Dave. I'm the Executive Director here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
And I'm Chaplain Chaz Blackburn, and I have the honor of being the president of Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. And we have a really special guest. I usually say that, but it's true. And we have a little cliche saying, which is be the change that you want to see in the world. And I love what you do, and you're going to introduce yourself in a second because you really help start out life on a positive note for families. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer Campbell. I'm a birth doula in Northern Nevada. I also have special certifications in bereavement, adoption, and surrogacy. I'm a certified lactation educator and a childbirth educator. I was the first doula in the state of Nevada to become a Medicaid provider, and I'm also a TRICARE provider. And so if you have Medicaid or TRICARE, your doula is no charge. And I'm also mom of 18.
Whoa.
18 children?
Yeah, I didn't tell you guys that before.
18?
18 children, yeah.
That's an accomplishment.
That's awesome.
Wow.
It is an accomplishment, yeah.
That's a lot.
Wow.
It's a
Never
lot.
would have guessed that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool. We might have more questions about that.
I think maybe, yeah.
So yeah, if you guys are new or newish and this is your first time listening to the show, this is the Community Cares Podcast. This is a local podcast where we highlight a few community events happening in the community, and then we talk about a community resource. And this week, the resource is you guys. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. I was excited to be here today.
If you're... If you want to listen to this anywhere else, feel free. We're on Apple Podcasts, all over the place, Spotify. You type in Community Cares Podcast, and we're the first thing that pops up. Thank you guys for making that possible. Without you guys, we wouldn't be around, and there would be no show. And this is 52.
I mean, this is the year episode, and congratulations. Thank you guys for all your support. Some amazing partnerships with other nonprofits and organizations have actually come from the show, and you guys sharing this and people hearing and learning more about us. So what a fun time. And I got to see you almost every week on a Monday. I mean, that's
every week. The whole
exciting.
The whole idea was you were on the board, and but before that we just started talking about, like, there's all these resources in the community, and I guarantee you we're going to learn something from these resources.
True, though.
Every single week we always learn something.
It's
There's
amazing.
something new. Even resources we're pretty familiar with, they'll come on the show, and we learn something we never knew before. So it's great to be a part of. And thank you, the listener. You guys have helped us average over that 1,000 listeners. And so you guys, without you, there is no show. So thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing. Again, this is at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. We're doing it live. And if you are wondering, okay, where do I listen to it live? Be here live. We don't have a lot of live listeners all the time, but we normally have people afterwards. But we want to give the opportunity to you, the listener, to jump in if it's someone you wanted to talk to and you wanted to ask a question about, because we believe it's important to have that community engagement.
Well, usually we have like 3 to 5 live listeners, but you had to have your coffee, and we ran a little late.
You're gonna throw me under the bus. You're gonna throw
Before
me.
you could do it to me, absolutely.
Buddy.
Wow.
Buddy.
Wow.
Well, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
My co-host. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
thank you for being here to be a part of it. How
I'm
awesome.
excited.
Most people probably, we're going to talk about it later, but when they hear doula, they're like, what is that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you
There's
to
a
share
lot of questions for sure.
We start off with 3 events. So you want to start off with the best of them all, the first one?
You're gonna have the vegetarian start with the rib cook-off. Huh?
Woohoo!
Rib cook-off is coming up on August 28th, and that is between August 28th and Monday, September 2nd, and that's a great event. It's a big local event here in the city of Sparks, and it's been around for a long time. The best in the West rib cook-off.
I got something just for you. Ready? Look at this. The best in the West rib cook-off hat, visor. I'm going to bring the visor back.
For
and
our
then I'm gonna wear
listeners, he's
fanny
wearing
pack.
a very ugly hat.
I'm going to wear a fanny pack. And we're doing all-you-can-eat ribs with Andrea this year. Lily gets to join as well.
That's cool.
Have you ever done that at the rib cook-off?
I have not done the all you
Okay.
can eat. I have been in the VIP booth though, and it's very worth being in the VIP booth.
The only thing that's really frustrating is they have all the barbecue sauces, but you don't know which ones they are. So when you try all these ones and you're like, I like that, which one was that?
Oh, so it's hard
You don't
to
know.
it's hard to
That's
track
true.
it down.
It is hard, so I might take a labeler. Go and label each one a number.
In your fanny pack.
In my fanny pack.
This is an
yes.
image right here. The visor, fanny pack, and label. Don't worry, guys. I got my labeler. We're all set.
We don't need any bad dad jokes. I'll be the bad dad joke today.
Oh man, dude. If you do that, please let me know. I'll show up with a camera. So
You got it. If someone donates the $500, I will do it.
$500.
To Good
Come on.
Shepherds, yeah.
If someone donates $10, I'll make you do it. Wait there. No.
No.
Okay.
Now, the second event is super, super important to me. It's going to be this year. It's our third annual Believe event.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, it's an amazing time of just honoring our loved ones and getting together. This will be our third year. We're doing it on September 11th. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have Vietnam Veterans of America doing a full color guard. Councilman Dare's wife, wonderful wife, Melissa, is going to be singing the national anthem. We have a guitar player. We have an opera singer, and so we get together and we post pictures on these picture boards that we reuse every year, and people just get together. There's community resources. The State of Nevada Task Force for Suicide Prevention is going to be there this year because we are honoring September, and there's plastic axe throwing for the kids and face painting, and it's just a powerful time. We have the candlelight remembrance ceremony, and please come join us and honor your loved ones. And there's something about us uniting and being together all on the common journey of grief. It's really powerful.
It is. I mean, and it's the time frame it takes for people to grieve. It's different for everyone.
Absolutely.
It really is. And so the reason I say that is last year at the Believe event, our former president here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, Kim Thompson, her dad helped plant Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. So 28 years ago, and she was tearing up, and she even said, and it was her dad passed a few years ago. I want to say like 6-7 years ago, and she wanted to say something publicly. She said, I haven't been able to be past this, and I don't know if I ever will be fully, but I want to go say something at that open mic time. And she was just crying and felt like there was this relief off her shoulder that she was able to grieve with people and to be there with people. And that's what's so important about that event.
To know you're not crazy, you're not alone. We never move on, but we move forward. And it's a lot easier when we're hearing other people's stories. There's so much power in our stories and other people's stories.
Super powerful.
So that'll be thanks to Circle of Life Hospice for putting that on. And that'll be at the Believe sign downtown Reno. And we do it there because we believe we're stronger united, and we believe that we can support each other through that. And man, it's powerful.
Every year it's been a super powerful event, and we always appreciate the invite from our friends at Circle of Life. And it's just amazing what you guys do to put it all together. It was really cool.
We have our Reno Fire Department just reached out today. They're going to have a whole engine truck with a ladder and a hanging flag. And
nice.
So we'll honor fallen veterans, fallen first responders, and anybody fallen in our community, whether 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or recently. It's for everybody, and it's about uniting. So
right, it's not just those who lost someone military or something like that. It's for everyone who has lost someone, and that's powerful. That's really powerful.
So we hope to see you there. It's a free event, and again, that'll be September 11th from 6 to 8 p.m.
Beautiful. He did that off memory. My show notes just say Believe event. So good job. Good job, man.
I hope so. I helped facilitate. I should remember it.
I'm like, I don't know nothing. I didn't know hell know it all. So it's perfect. And it is a really cool event. So definitely make it a point to come down there. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is it's not an event necessarily, as more of things happening in the community currently. And one of our lead volunteers asked us to shout this out because currently he is up there off Robb Drive helping and assisting with the Red Cross up there. But as you guys know, all the fires are raging right now in Verdi, and it's pretty scary. People are losing. I believe last I heard one home has been lost now, and there's many people that are hurting in that, and a lot of power power outages, all sorts of things. So the Rob Drive Library has just now turned into an official shelter. So that's a Red Cross shelter now. It was an evacuation point, but now it's a shelter because of how bad everything's been. I brought some backpacks there today, met with some people, talked with them. Doughboys Donuts donated donuts to us for us to deliver to them. So
thanks, Jay.
It was actually the other one. Yeah. Northwest.
Thank
Reno.
you.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah. It was really nice of them. So, and it's definitely huge. The Northwest Doughboys Donut over there, and we were able to get some backpacks over there, and we're working closely with them that any fire victims come down to Good Shepherd, we'll make sure you get some clothing, blankets, and other things. Additionally, Nugget and Atlantis are both doing the $68, and that's like after taxes and fees for evacuees of the area, and those that choose not to stay at the shelter. So if you guys need to stay somewhere, if you're listening to this, you might not be if you're struggling, but if you have a friend and someone needs to know the information, please pass it along. There is help out there, people wanting to help and be a part of this, and there's food provided up there, and you're not alone. You can be around people and be out there in the community, and it's a scary thing. Things like this is really scary. Fire season is always really scary in the Reno Sparks area.
I hope you didn't just say this. I wasn't listening.
Thanks,
No,
bud.
the Reno City Center, where the old Harrah's used to be, is offering a $45 flat rate for anybody who's been displaced by the fires.
Wow.
So that's a pretty good rate if you want a hotel room. I just want to second what Dave said. This really awful situation, but thank you to our men and women who are serving out there trying to contain that fire. Thank you to Nevada Peer Support Network for setting up the rehab unit for those first responders.
Additionally, veterinary care, Options Veterinary Care, Carrie Brown is the manager over there. They're offering assistance for evacuated pets. If
awesome.
you need to bring your pet somewhere and the hotels say you can't, or wherever else. So there's lots of help out there. So definitely thank you, Matt, for getting us all the information and being up there and helping people. Matt's a great volunteer, has been volunteering here for over a year, and without him, a lot of the microcloset expansion stuff wouldn't be happening and the other things that are happening. So thank you so much, Matt, and thank you for asking us to shout this out on the podcast today.
Absolutely. And I just want to give one more line. I serve on the command staff for the Great Basin Chaplain Corps, and we are providing support to any families who are going through emotional crisis or need to have a bridge to those resources. We have people and dispatchers 24/7 that can help connect you to some of those resources. And that
Great.
number is 1-775-382-2384. So feel free to reach out to them, and they can help field you to the right place as well.
That's awesome. And we'll post a list as well after the show of where people can go. Please share it if you watch this or if you're listening. There's some hard stuff happening right now and a lot of people in need, and just getting that information out there is vital. Information really is power. It's like this show. That's what it's all about, is all this different information in the community, and people just don't know where to look for it. That's the reality. And with that being said, I'd like to dive into
On a lighter note,
Doula in Reno.
Wow. Following of that.
Jen, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we'd like to give you the floor. Talk all about Doula in Reno, what you guys are doing, maybe some fun projects, why you're involved, that kind of stuff.
Well, Doula in Reno is me. It's my business. Most doulas are individual business owners.
Okay.
We do have the Doula Co-op of Nevada. It's a statewide nonprofit organization that helps give support to the community connection support. They've done legislation and research and a lot of great things. So I am part of that and on the board, but I'm actually a one-man rib cook-off right next to Be the Change.
Hey. I want that up there. Gotta have a lighter note, brother. Rip off by the book. Okay. Sorry.
And you know what? The sign, be the change that you want to see in the world. I think most doulas get into doula work because they've had a baby and they realize how much better it could have gone if they had had the proper support. I actually had a great experience, but knew that it could have been even better with support. So many of us just decide after having a child, usually, that we want to help other women not to feel the way that we did, or to make them educated and more informed. But I want to mention the community. You said that Good Shepherd's been in business for how long?
28 years.
So why did I not know anything about you until 4 months ago?
Right.
And I think that one thing I'd love to talk about, which is more community-based than it is just the world according to Doula in Reno, but definitely affects me, is that the hardest part of being a business owner is letting people know that you're here.
Yeah.
That's huge, right? And then, okay, well, if you're here and we can connect, and I send my clients, because I'm a Medicaid provider, so I have a lot of Medicaid clients that are lower income. I send them to you now because I know that they can come in without any judgment and get the things that they need to get that otherwise they couldn't afford, right? But before that, I didn't know I could connect my clients with you and that we overlapped. And so we're on social media now, and it's that way with a lot of community. So if people don't know that, and I'm not the only doula who's a Medicaid provider, if they don't know, this is a benefit for you through your insurance that you don't have to pay for, that gives you education, support, teaches you to be an advocate, and is there for you physically and emotionally, then they're not even going to know to ask the question. Like you said, do they even know what a doula is?
Right.
Possibly not. So, it's really, really important. I'm grateful to be here because I think the biggest issue for small business or people in the community is just connecting themselves with the community that they want to serve.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm a doula.
And I think there's something to be said. You said something really important. We deal with the same thing at end of life, but you're at the beginning of life, but it's that holistic approach. No matter what their walk of life is or their spiritual beliefs, it's treating the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, right?
Right.
And that's something that sometimes gets missed in our healthcare system, is treating the holistic approach.
Well, when you have a 10-minute appointment with your physician, and you might see a different one every time you go in, potentially, and you don't really even know what questions to ask because you've never done this thing before, whether it's end of life or beginning of life, you don't even know the questions to ask. So it isn't that people aren't educated or smart or invested in the process. It's that they don't know where to begin. And so doulas, in my case for birth, we do have death doulas also, but in my case for birth, education is a huge part of what I do because you can't make a decision if you don't have the information. So giving the information and letting families make the decision on what's best for them, for their body, their family, their baby, their whole life. And it doesn't matter what their decision is. It's not about wrong or right or good or bad. It's about what's the best options for you. In your situation through your pregnancy and delivery and then postpartum, and getting them connected with the community resources that they need to support them to be successful.
Yeah, no, it's really important. It's really important.
Well, I think too, I was a first-time parent at one time.
Right.
And you really don't know. And yeah, you may have mentors who are family members, but there's so much emotion tied to that. It's really nice to have someone that is trained in this or has spent a lot of time, getting different certifications and knows these resources well in the process to be able to give you that advice so you can make an educated decision.
And you as a partner, because you were a first-time dad, right? You know your wife more intimately than I do, and I know birth work.
Right.
And you don't.
Right.
So we make a great team to support that woman, and then I'm bridging the gap with the medical professionals as well.
Right.
So a doula really is meant to serve that woman in her pregnancy, labor, delivery, and postpartum so that she can have a really good experience. And you shouldn't be making decisions just like end of life. I'm sure you see this all the time.
Right.
You're in labor in the hospital and they're throwing things at you to make decisions and you don't even know the information.
Yeah.
That's not the time you should be making decisions. The education and the decision making should be done as much as possible before you're in that
100%.
urgent situation.
Yep.
Yeah, because when you're in the urgent situation, all you can think about is, what's the next thing I need to do?
It's
scary.
overwhelming.
It's scary. It's really scary, and it's not easy to necessarily figure out without. it's hard to make an educated guess on what's best for you, your family, when you're in those dangerous situations or scary situations or harder situations, whatever it may be, with a baby, whether it's a doula, whether it's you're in a car crash, whatever it is. And so getting those resources out, making sure that knowledge is out there is one of the most important things. So I'm glad you're doing that, getting information out there, educating people. That is really important.
I do free childbirth education classes every couple months through Real Choices.
Great, yeah.
We have one coming up in August and one coming up in beginning of November. And that's, I think you have to balance bringing money in, like I need to earn a living, with what we give back to the community. So that's volunteer for me. It's a program that Real Choices started, and I use their curriculum. But the whole goal is to be able to bring the community in a way that's not confrontational, not scary, just giving information. Real Choices does a great job with how they run the program. And then I volunteer my time to teach the classes, and it's been amazing. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Information's power.
Information's power. So I think also learning to get it out there in several different ways. I'm on your podcast. That's a different way. And then on my website, I have massive resource guides because I'm not the only doula. People may want someone that fits their personalities better. And also, I can't do everything. I can't do mental health.
Right.
There are all these things. I do bereavement for women who have lost a baby. But like that's our crossover with Circle of Life is working with grief and bereavement. But and that's a pro bono part of my business as well.
Wow.
But it's letting people know that you're here. And if I didn't know you were here for 27 something years, right? You have to just continue to get word out in the community, support them.
So Real Choices, did Otto help start that? Do you know Otto?
Yeah. Okay. I know he was part of it for a while. Yeah. He was
same organization, though.
Same organization.
Because it used to be, was it Crisis Services?
Pregnancy Center.
Pregnancy Center, okay.
Yes.
It's a great organization because, it's all about choices and education. So I love that.
It is. It's all about choices and education. And if you feel like you don't have an option, then you don't. I mean, when you don't know there's another option out there for you, how can you make a decision if you feel trapped and stuck and you don't understand and you're in a crisis situation? And sometimes pregnancy can feel like that, overwhelming and like a crisis situation. So bridging that gap in education, definitely love that. Education is power. So
very cool.
So what are some what first off, what's your website? Why don't you tell our listeners?
doulainreno.com.
And then, so a lot of those resources are there.
Yeah, I'm the president of the Northern Nevada Breastfeeding Coalition, so I keep all breastfeeding resources for Northern Nevada through the coalition, but they're also on my website. And then all pregnancy postpartum resources that I can possibly find. You guys are on there. Yeah,
I think that's a really important topic, actually, real quick, is breastfeeding. Because when you look at the economy right now, too, besides the great benefits of the natural effect and all the vitamins and nutrients, formula is expensive.
Oh, my gosh.
People are suffering right now. We had we gave away, thanks to, what was it, Libre Initiative, gave us 300 backpacks. We gave it away our back to school event with Molina, which was an amazing partner. But there was probably 400 or 500 people there, and the need is just growing and growing and growing. So
diapers and if they're not breastfeeding, formula, I think are the top two resources that people ask me for. So
Women's and Children's Center, they were on, and they actually gave us a huge donation of stuff today. And so I picked up, but they always have diapers and formula and stuff. And they do a great job over there. They've been partners with us for a lot of years. But because they do a very similar thing to what we do. And so if we're able to get all these different nonprofits or businesses or whoever else that help the community, if we're able to get that information out there, because it's so hard. It is so hard to get that information out there. And like you're saying earlier, that's the key, is how can we get that information out there to be able to help the people that need it the most, right?
Yeah, I think you just continue to connect and continue to put the information out. I work one-on-one with clients, so I'm giving them those resources one-on-one. That's making a small difference. It makes a big difference to that one.
It does.
Which is a great way to start. I'm also, right now, I'm the only doula that works with UNR's Early Head Start in the jail. I work with the domestic violence and substance disorder transitional living as well. And I was a foster parent for 12 years. I didn't get 18 kids all on my own. And I worked in foster care for 15 years total. And it's really interesting now because back when I did it, if you had a baby with issues, there was drug use or anything like that, the baby was given to someone like me to adopt, right? And now I get to work with women who are getting the support they need so that baby doesn't have to leave them. And really, they're getting education, resources, and support. And babies don't have to be removed like they did 20 plus years ago when I was a foster parent. It's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to work within the community, but really you're doing it a drop at a time, and just compound interest is adding up, for any of these community resources like you guys. That's how it happens. You just keep plugging along.
Well, and I think there's something to be said, like you were saying, about being preventative and having that education. So, even looking like high level overview, if you're able to do those free classes and educate parents far before it gets to the point where they're abusing narcotics and the baby gets taken, there's a lot of those individuals are struggling with multiple things. Could be loss, could be different components of addiction, but also I think when we look at the generational dysfunction of how they were raised as well, and so you're able to be a mentor and help them be educated on it, because those things are not so common. How do you feed your baby, or what's good for a child growing up, and reading to them. A lot of people did not get that.
True. And doula is literally translated from Greek, woman who serves. Wow. They're there to serve. And doulas are found in archaeological digs. It started out as the auntie or the mom, a grandma, or the friend who had a baby that was supporting someone who had been through it, supporting that person who hadn't been through it yet, right? And then it became an actual profession. Similar, it's non-medical, where midwifery is medical, but it's a non-medical role that's basically there to support a woman. We used to live multi-generational and more communally, where getting that support was easy. It was second nature. It was part of how you were raised and grew up. And we don't work that way in the U.S.
Not only is it declined globally, but especially the U.S.
Especially in the U.S. So doulas literally come in to fill that role that traditionally or communally was filled by somebody within your community that had done it before you and could help you through it.
Awesome.
So,
So you were the first person to apply for to be a Medicaid provider for this.
I was, yep.
Were you a part of the legislative push for that?
I was peripheral in that. Legislation is something that I'm getting more interested in. It's really fascinating. And the doula co-op going through. So Medicaid said, yes, doulas can be providers. We'll pay them $350. Well, I charge $1,500. So I'm not going to take a client for $350. I actually did take a couple clients for $350 when it first started. But the Doula Co-op of Nevada put through legislation and they were a driving force behind that, and now we get $1,300, which is amazing. It's amazing. So now my Medicaid clients, basically, I'm getting paid the same, almost the same amount as I am.
And that's a lot of support for that family.
It's a lot of support. 50%, almost 50% of pregnant women in the U.S. and especially here in Nevada have Medicaid. Yeah. So it opened up, to me, it opened up 50% of the pregnant population, which is great because I want to be able to serve more women. The other thing that it did was it raised the amount they were paying to a living wage for doulas. Yeah. And yes, I was part of that legislation session, but not part of writing it, and I have been part of it since. I'm one of the doulas. Emily, who's the executive director of the Doula Co-op of Nevada, and myself have done a bulk of the heavy lifting, working with each Medicaid MCO. Molina, Silver Summit are two that we've mentioned. Anthem and Health Plan of Nevada are the other two, and through the state fee-for-service to make this a more streamlined process for doulas and to help women with Medicaid know that this is a benefit that they have.
And that's important.
Can I ask, so those women on Medicaid, because a lot of people probably wonder this, do they also get the benefit of having childbirth in the hospital? or
Yes.
only at home?
I'm in the hospital.
And so a lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize that.
Right.
That's a myth, because some people think you can only do it at home if you take advantage of the doula, but actually you can do both.
You can. I think traditionally or in the past, doulas did more home births. It was basically upper middle class who
Which
were
is
educated.
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing. I still do
That's
it.
an option. It's a great option
It's
as well.
a great option.
So.
But it's people who are educated and have the money to afford it, who know what a doula is and are searching that out for themselves, which is
Right.
far different than, the Medicaid population who can't afford to pay
Yeah.
me $1,500. So
That's awesome. I love it.
yeah, and I'm in the hospital. The Doula Co-op of Nevada also started the Doula Access Program at Reno, and so doulas go through a training there, and we're badged. We have the same level badging as a nurse. We're considered volunteer nurse extensions through the hospital, so we don't get paid for them. We don't have a contract with Renown, but they recognize us. So I always tell my clients, if your nurse walks in and I hug her, we're good, because I've gotten to know so many of the
Right,
staff
right.
at Renown
Yeah.
now. It's one of my favorite places to be.
Yeah. I serve
Yeah.
on the Renown System team, and they're that staff on the NICU level, PICU, and just labor and delivery. They're amazing nurses
Yep.
and staff.
Amazing. I love working with them. So I went from almost 100% of my births being home births that people could self-pay for to about 90% in the hospital and about 75 Medicaid.
Love it.
But I'm also a TRICARE provider too, so I work with the military.
That's great.
And you have a podcast too?
I do. I have a podcast I've had for 7 years in this last May. So
OG podcaster. I love it.
7 years of
Good for
podcasting,
you.
and according to Listen Notes, it's in the top 5% of the world. I'm
Hey,
usually
I was happy about the 1 year. Don't be bragging now.
well. You have to do the time.
That's right.
To do the brag, right? Yeah, over 7 years, and it's called Becoming Parents, and I do have a special link for local episodes. So you have to be an entrepreneur in the community, a parent or a birth worker.
Okay.
And so I have a special link.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys can use that.
Very cool.
So beyond all of that, if people want to hire you or people want to help, be involved, I don't know, people want to donate to try to help mitigate costs, or I don't know, anything. What's something you want to share with our community?
It's the best thing to ask for. If you don't have Medicaid or TRICARE and you have another insurance that doesn't cover doula services, put that on your baby registry. Ask for it. Ask for money towards your doula. That's probably the single best and easiest way you can gather money.
Okay.
If you call your insurance company and they do have an amount that they cover, but of course I'm not a provider, I have an insurance packet to help you get payment for that in order to pay me.
What about HSA?
Yeah, they work great. They do reimbursement almost every time.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I have a reimbursement packet I give to my clients who have a health savings plan. Yeah, they almost every time, because you can allocate the money the way
Awesome.
you want to. So that's a great way to do it. I think as far as getting in touch with me, on doulainreno.com, there's a contact form, but also there's a schedule your doula consult button.
Awesome.
And you schedule 30 minutes free with me to see if I'm a good fit. Ask any questions, kind of see what the process is of having a doula, what that means for you. And I always encourage everybody to do 3 consults to make sure you really find the right fit.
Yeah,
Which is important.
that's great. And well, thank you so much for being here and just
Thank you.
sharing with our listeners what you're doing in the community and how you're making a difference. And there's definitely it seems like there's been a lot of misconceptions on doulas, what they are, what they do, and those kind of things. So thank you for clearing up some of that and sharing what you're doing. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Let's see if it works this time. I love you guys. Oh, there it goes.
Oh my gosh. You guys, thank you so much for listening. If you want to find out more, please make sure to follow, like, subscribe, be a part of what we're doing in the community. You can listen to us everywhere, and we're so appreciative for you, the listener. Without you, this doesn't exist. So if you want to find out more about Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, please visit getclothes.org. And we're always doing events. We're going to be doing a big fundraiser event in November, and all sorts of stuff. And we give away over $70,000 worth of clothing every single month, and that equates to around 700 people a month. And be on the lookout for some big announcements, big things coming all the time. And we're really excited for the community just supporting and coming around what we're doing. So thank you.
I can't tell them. Yeah.
Tell them what?
All the big announcements?
No, you can't tell them all the announcements. Come on,
okay,
man.
All right.
Thank you, and thank you, Jen, for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And we help 700 people a month, no matter what. We're asking you to come alongside and help one. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next
Take
week.
care. Thank you.